Yeah. Well, let's. I want to focus in on the content strategy, like with you specifically, and obviously you're seeing a lot with your clients.
Yeah.
Like what got you to get to that consistency mode, and how have you like dropped some of this friction with creating content? Like, what does it look like, and how can folks listening, if they're struggling to create content, how can you
Yeah.
start to kind of move in that direction?
Well, the simplest things that we found, number one, was usually people have content already that can just be repurposed and just made in different ways and just needs to be distributed again. But we don't do it because we think, well, I already published that blog post. I can't repurpose it on LinkedIn as a LinkedIn article. I can't chop a piece out and add it as a LinkedIn post. I can't create a video around it because I've already done it, which is not true, because whoever you're getting connected with now, they're never going to find it unless they deep dive into, 50 podcast episodes, like in your guys' case, right?
Yeah.
That's where you guys creating podcast content and having really good show notes and taking good notes around, like, here's the 5 nuggets that are 3 minutes long. That would be really great clips. Like, I don't know what you guys do right now with these videos, but we've talked about 10 topics already that could easily be clips, right?
Oh yeah, you'll see these videos. People listening to this episode will probably see clips from these videos floating around.
Definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that was one of the big aha moments for me, because again, I was saying I was doing live Q&As and I was kind of like reluctantly doing them because how it is. You have an online program. We've got, I think, 300 or 400 people that pay for our online program. Mm-hmm. And nobody shows up to the damn live Q&As.
It's so common. Yeah.
But so at first you're kind of like, well, why am I doing this? And then at the second part, you're like, wait a second. This is a blocked off time every week that I could focus on just creating content. And then I was like, oh, double dipping here, So
I've actually never really
like
thought
that.
of it from that angle, because we experienced the same issue where we had membership sites, and I think we always did like a month live call, and we'd have 1,000 members in the membership thing, and 10 people would show up to the call, and we're like,
yeah.
Or worse, sometimes we'd have 2 people show up to the call, and we're just like, well, our whole content strategy was to answer your questions, and if there's only 2 people here, this is not going to last very long.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like, because it's just like I said with me publishing content on LinkedIn. If people go look at my LinkedIn profile and you go to my posts, you'll see that I get 2 likes and 1 comment on every single video that I do. But it's making money, so I don't really care. At the same time, my ego and my marketer brain says, imagine if that was super engaging and there was a ton of more views and I could incorporate an ad strategy that gets those videos more into the stream. So to me, it's 2 ways to look at it. One is like, oh man, this isn't working, or, oh my God, there's so much potential here. Look at what we're doing without even amplifying the content that we're creating.
That's how I'm seeing it. It's like you're laying a great a framework here, a foundation, and you're leveraging a platform that and it's not a platform you can control necessarily. You don't own it, but you're leveraging it in these strategic ways to then bring them into your own space. It's the whole thing of not. You're relying on it a little bit, but at the same time, you have relationships you're building that can carry over into your own thing that you can control and follow up with. I think it's hugely powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I think people, because I know us with LinkedIn, we'll look at it and be like, man, there's not a lot of engagement on there. So that will actually stop us from posting on there and making that a strategy that's consistent. Right now, it's just haphazard. Because of that, because we're not on sales calls necessarily, but at the same time, we know people are looking on there, and you can see the views. So it's like 100% people are watching. They're just not necessarily pushing a button.
So, are you familiar with Sean Stevenson, the late Sean Stevenson? Passed away just a few months back.
Mm-hmm.
But he was on stage at one time, and he was doing like a Q&A session, and somebody walked up to the mic and and asked him a question, and he said, and I'm totally butchering it, this is just sort of my recollection, but he said something like, I've got a YouTube channel. It only gets 300 downloads per video that I put up. If you were me, what would you do to try to boost my YouTube channel? How do I get my videos in front of more people? And Sean said, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Basically, he was saying, so if there was a plane crash tomorrow and 300 people are on that plane and all of them were gone, would that be a big impact on the world? Would everybody be sort of devastated and hurt by the fact that we just lost 300 souls? And the person at the mic was like, yeah, of course, that'd be horrible. And he's like, so those 300 souls are valuable, but the 300 souls that you just put that YouTube video in front of aren't? You're focusing on the wrong thing. Stop thinking about the people that you're not impacting and start thinking about the people that you are impacting.
Yeah. And that speaks to what I think you were asking about too, Joe, was like, how am I going about the content? I call them rants, but honestly, it's just me like speaking the truth now and helping people get out of their own damn way. Yeah. Because I know that I don't care what somebody does to be able to get into a better situation in their life. Just go and stick to it. Because I know we've been doing our process long enough that if you do it, it works. It just works. But 99% of people don't do it. They just don't, you know? So I talk about that honestly. Like usually the last 10 minutes of my live Q&As are me going off saying like, if you do anything, just focus on that one thing that we talked about today and then report back and let me know, because I'll keep you accountable. And, you know, I want to create a greater impact even than we already are right now, but I know I need to show up talking as though I'm speaking to one person at a time.
Yeah, and you're changing that life. And just think about, and now the fact that you're distributing that content in these little nugget forms on a bigger platform that can now affect all of these other people out there. And yeah, a lot of them you'll probably never talk to, and that's okay. But like, it's this positive effect, this ripple you're putting out into the world. And it's just a byproduct of what you're already doing on a one-to-one basis or one-to-many basis where you do get feedback.
Yeah.
So I think as a content strategy, this is an amazing way to start, is almost like identify what you're already going to do in your business and serve, like who you're serving, whoever that might be. And then figure out a good repurposing strategy and then connect that with a platform. Probably start with one platform that you're kind of familiar with and just be consistent as hell with that. Consistent on both fronts.
Yeah.
Content, but also the repurposing on that platform.
Yeah.
Not trying to be everywhere. You know,
that's for sure. Yeah. And know where your audience is too, right? Like I know my perfect audience. My audience is on Facebook too. They are. I know that. And we were running Facebook ads for the last like year up until about a month ago. And we stopped partially because Facebook's been a bit of a pain in the ass just with the ads shutdowns and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But also I just saw how noisy it was getting. And I also saw the calls that I was getting on. Those people were doing like what we talked about earlier, is like they were looking for LinkedIn lead generation solution. And if I talk to somebody about LinkedIn lead generation solution as the opener of my conversation, I'd rather just throw them back into the sea and say, you should just go watch my videos. Everything I teach is completely free. Like, because you're not ready for what I have to offer as a transformation in your business yet. So we pulled off of Facebook and now we're focusing on LinkedIn, which is why I say like we're going to invest in LinkedIn ads, because we know that if people are there, and my LinkedIn ad, by the way, is like this. It's like, hey, I'm glad I got your attention. I'm going to keep this brief because I know you're probably in here looking for prospects. Why else would you be in LinkedIn, right? You're probably in your inbox and you're looking to see if that connection request got accepted, and it probably didn't, and you're probably disappointed. Does this resonate? Cool. Here's what I got for you. And then I'll call to action to somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Straight to the point. I can actually be more direct because I know they're there to do business. They're not there to kind of do business, but also to check the sports scores and to see what their friends are up to. And it's a totally different mindset of person that's in LinkedIn.